Hi, good afternoon. I'm Richard Ford and this is
Christina Simmonds.
And we're from Gloucestershire. We've come down to Ystradgynlais here in Wales for the Brecon and Radnorshire by-election. Good afternoon. Hey, Christine.
Yeah. We've actually been talking to quite a few people down here and trying to understand what it is that frustrates them in terms of the current situation in politics. And it's fair to say there's quite a degree of unhappiness, to say the least. What was your feeling?
People are totally fed up. As the rest of the country, I think people are totally fed up. There are more Labour voters in this area. This is a private estate, I think, than there would be in a similar place in Gloucestershire or in England. But a lot of those people are totally fed up with the Labour Party. They are going to be voting, if they're Remainers, they're going to be voting for the Lib Dems, and if they're Leavers, they're going to be voting for the Brexit Party. So, what we're finding is failed old Conservative and Labour parties, even with the so-called Boris bounce, which is only a honeymoon bounce.
Yeah. And people are generally saying they feel they've been deceived, misinformed, that generally, one chap said to me, they're just hypocrites, and crooks was his description of politicians in general. So politicians are certainly not flavour of the month, probably anywhere, but certainly not around here.
I think that's absolutely right, and people have said they can't believe the Conservative Party stood as a candidate, the guy who was convicted, I believe, correct, I don't want to be sued obviously, but I think that's the case, of malfeasance, and they've put him up as the candidate. They find that amazing. It's clear.
Arrogance was used as the word
absolutely.
to me.
So I think, Brexit Party's got a very, very good chance of a very good result here. Obviously the Lib Dems are here in some force as well, and they used to hold the seat. But, as elsewhere in the UK, politics is realigning itself away from the old dinosaur Labour and Conservative parties towards really on Remain and Leave lines towards the Brexit Party and to the Lib Dems, and that's being reflected here in this constituency. Though of course there isn't a Green candidate and there isn't a Plaid Cymru candidate because they're backing the Lib Dems.
I think that's the truth. There's a sort of coalition of parties that want to remain, obviously. Yeah. But I think the other thing that will be interesting to see how many people actually do vote, because there seems to be quite a lot of apathy caused by, it has to be said, the legacy parties. And we're saying to people, if you want change, then you've got to get out there and vote. You've got to stand up and be counted and go out and vote for the Brexit Party, because all the others, it's just shifting the colour scheme around.
Well, it's the same old, and I think,
blue deck chairs or red ones or
absolutely.
whatever.
I do think that's exactly right. I think the biggest opposition that we have isn't Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, it's the apathy party. And when we look and see, particularly ladies who fought, the suffragettes and so on, fought to get the vote, and men who didn't have property fought to get the vote only as recently as 1918, that's only just over 100 years ago. So you can't change anything by staying at home. No party is perfect, but please get out and vote. If you don't vote, you can't change anything. You shouldn't complain if you don't vote. And it's a really poor example to younger people as well. My own grown-up children, they've got the vote, and I absolutely say to them, you must vote, particularly my daughter, obviously. You must vote. People died to get the right to vote in many parts of the world. They still can't vote. We've got to get off our sofa and go to that polling station and vote for a party which will represent this country and represent Wales, represent the UK, and that is the Brexit Party, I think.
Indeed, yeah.